She was fired for being poor, but her comeback shocked them all. Maya's shoes were still wet when she pushed the glass door of Larkin Co. open with her shoulder. Rain slid down her cheap umbrella in thin lines. She tried to shake it off, but it only splashed her coat. The lobby smelled like warm coffee and clean floors. Everything looked bright and expensive, like the building itself never had a bad day. She walked fast across the marble, holding her bag close. Her bag was an old tote with a torn handle. She had wrapped the handle with black tape so it would not snap again. She kept telling herself it was fine. No one cared. People were busy. People had their own lives. But when the elevator doors opened, she saw the reflection of her coat in the metal. It was a little too thin for winter. The hem had started to fray. She pressed her lips together and stepped inside anyway. On the 18th floor, the office buzzed softly like a place that never fully slept. Keyboards clicked. Phones rang in low voices. Someone laughed near the printer. Maya walked to her desk, which sat near the corner, not the best spot. The best spots belonged to people who spoke loudly and laughed with the managers. "Morning," Maya said Jonah from the next desk. Jonah always looked calm, even when deadlines burned. His hair was always neat, his shirts always ironed. "Morning," Maya said, forcing a small smile. "Is the client call still at 10? Jonah nodded. "Yeah. And, Daniel asked if you can bring printed copies. 30 sets. Maya's stomach tightened. Printing that many sets cost money if the office printer jammed, and she had to use the paid shop downstairs. But she nodded like it was nothing. "Sure," she said. Jonah leaned closer. "You okay?" Maya hesitated. She wanted to say, "Not really." She wanted to say, "I had to choose between bus fare and dinner last night." She wanted to say, "My landlord left a note." Again. Instead, she said, "Just a long morning." Jonah did not push. He only gave her a look that said he understood more than he said. At 9:20, Maya stood by the printer feeding paper in one stack at a time. The machine made angry sounds. She whispered, "Please, please," like it could hear her. From across the room, she heard a bright voice. "Maya." "Hey," she turned. Tiffany walked toward her in heels that made soft, sharp taps. Tiffany's hair was perfect, her lipstick smooth, her phone shining in her hand like jewelry. Tiffany was the type of person who could smile and make it feel like a test. "Big day," Tiffany said, glancing at the piles of paper. "Wow, look at you working hard." Maya kept her eyes on the printer. "It's for the call." Tiffany leaned closer. "You know what's funny? Daniel said he loves your work, like he really does." Maya's chest warmed for half a second. He said that. Tiffany smiled wider. "Well, he said you're good, but he also said you don't seem like a good fit." Maya froze. "What does that mean?" Tiffany shrugged, pretending it was not important. "You know, image, clients, people notice things." Maya looked down at her coat. She felt suddenly hot under it, even though the office was cold. "I don't understand," Maya said quietly. Tiffany's eyes flicked to Maya's tote bag. "You're talented, Maya, but sometimes talent isn't the whole thing. Sometimes it's presentation." She walked away with a light laugh, like she had shared a harmless joke. Maya stood still, her hands gripping the paper so hard her fingers hurt. She swallowed and turned back to the printer, forcing the machine to do its job. Her face stayed calm, but inside her thoughts ran in circles. Not a good fit. Presentation. People notice things. At 9:55, she carried the stacks of printed copies into the main conference room. The room was huge, with a long table and a wall screen that showed the company logo. Daniel Rourke stood at the front adjusting his tie. He was young for his position, which made him proud and sharp at the same time. He liked things neat. He liked things controlled. "Here," Maya said, placing the copies down carefully. Daniel glanced at the piles, then at her. His eyes paused on her shoes. The wet marks were still visible. He did not say thank you. He only said, Make sure everyone has one. Maya nodded and moved around the room, setting copies at each seat. People walked in chatting, confident. Tiffany came in last, looking relaxed, as if she had never worried about anything in her life. The call started at 10. Maya sat near the end of the table, her laptop open and ready to take notes. She spoke when needed, clear and steady. She explained her part of the campaign plan with simple confidence. For a moment, she forgot the rain. She forgot the tape on her bag handle. She forgot the landlord's note. She was just Maya, a professional, a person who belonged. When the call ended, the client sounded pleased. "Great work," the client said through the speaker. "We'll move forward. Send the final materials by Friday." Daniel smiled. "Of course, thank you." People began to stand, stretching, chatting. Jonah gave Maya a small thumbs up. She almost smiled back. Then Daniel looked at Maya and said, "Maya, can you stay a minute?" Her throat tightened. Everyone else filed out, still talking. Tiffany lingered near the door, pretending to check her phone. When Maya met her eyes, Tiffany's smile was thin. The door closed. The room became too quiet. Daniel sat at the head of the table and steepled his fingers. "You did well on the call," he said. Maya waited, her hands clasped in front of her. But Daniel continued, "We need to talk about your overall situation." "My situation," Maya repeated. Daniel sighed like she was making it hard. "This is a high-end firm. We work with premium clients. They expect a certain level of professionalism." Maya stared at him confused. "I am professional." Daniel's eyes drifted to her coat again. "It's not just your work, it's everything around it. Your appearance, your reliability." "I'm reliable," Maya said, her voice shaking now. "I'm always here early. I stay late. I haven't missed a deadline." Daniel tapped a pen against the table. "I'm aware, but there have been concerns." "Concerns from whom?" Maya asked. Daniel paused, then said, "Look, Maya, I don't want to make this personal." "It is personal," she whispered. She felt her face burning. "What is this really about?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "We're making changes, and your position is being terminated." The words landed like a heavy object dropped in her chest. Maya blinked. "Terminated?" Daniel slid a folder across the table. "HR will explain the details. You'll receive 2 weeks' pay. Please return your badge today." Maya did not touch the folder. She stared at it as if it might disappear if she refused to look. "I don't understand," she said again, softer. "I just helped close the client." Daniel stood, signaling the meeting was over. "It's not about one client. It's about the brand. We have standards." Maya's hands began to tremble. "So you're firing me because I'm—" "What?" "Because my coat is old. Because my shoes got wet in the rain." Daniel's eyes flicked away. "I didn't say that." "You don't have to," Maya said. Her voice broke. "You're saying it with everything else." The door opened. Tiffany peeked in, acting surprised. "Oh, are you done? Daniel, HR is waiting." Daniel nodded. "Yes." Maya stood slowly. Her legs felt weak, like they belonged to someone else. As she walked past Tiffany, Tiffany whispered very softly, "I told you, people notice." Maya stepped into the hallway, holding her head up because she could not do anything else. The office lights felt too bright. The floor felt too hard under her wet shoes. She walked to her desk, aware of eyes turning toward her like small cameras. Jonah stood up halfway. "Maya." She forced a smile that did not reach her eyes. "It's fine," she said. But it wasn't. She picked up her taped tote bag. The handle creaked, and as she walked toward the elevator with her badge in her hand, Maya realized something that made her stomach drop even more than the firing itself. She had $12 in her wallet, and she had no idea where she was going to go when she stepped outside. The elevator ride down felt longer than usual. Maya stood near the wall, staring at the numbers as they lit up and disappeared. 18, 17, 16. Each number felt like something she was losing. When the doors opened in the lobby, the warm coffee smell hit her again. It felt cruel now. She walked past the front desk where the receptionist smiled out of habit. "Have a good day," the receptionist said. Maya nodded. "You too." Outside, the rain had slowed to a light drizzle, but the cold was sharper. She stepped onto the sidewalk and stopped. People rushed past her, coats, zipped phones, and hand lives moving forward. No one knew she had just lost everything that held her steady. She checked her phone. No missed calls, no messages. She opened her banking app even though she already knew. $12.30. She let out a small laugh, short and strange. "Well," she whispered, "look at me." She walked without a clear direction, just away from the building, her shoes squished with every step. At the corner, a street musician played a slow song on a violin. The sound made her chest ache. She sat on a bench near a closed flower shop and finally allowed herself to breathe. Her hands shook as she pulled out the folded paper from her bag. The landlord's note. Final reminder, it read. "Rent overdue. Please contact immediately." Maya pressed the paper back into her bag like it could hurt her if she looked at it too long. Her phone buzzed. She jumped then and frowned when she saw the name. Mom. Maya hesitated. She loved her mother, but she could already hear the worry in her voice, the quiet disappointment, the questions Maya could not answer. She let it ring. Then her phone buzzed again. A message this time. "Jonah. Hey, I saw you leave. Are you okay?" Maya stared at the screen. Her throat tightened. She typed erase typed again. "Maya, I got fired." 3 dots appeared almost instantly. "Jonah, what that makes no sense. You were great today." Maya smiled sadly at the screen. "Maya. Apparently I'm not a good fit." There was a pause. "Jonah. That's garbage." She laughed softly. It felt good to read that. "Jonah. Listen. I'm heading out for lunch. Where are you?" Maya looked around. "I'm near Pine Street." "Jonah. Stay there. Don't move." Before she could say anything, he added, "Jonah. And don't argue. I'm already on my way." She sighed and leaned back against the bench. The rain stopped, completely leaving the street shiny and gray. 10 minutes later, Jonah appeared slightly out of breath, his tie loosened. He carried 2 paper cups of coffee in a small paper bag. "I took a risk," he said, holding up the bag. "I hope you like blueberry muffins." Maya laughed for real this time. "I love blueberry muffins." They sat on the bench together. Jonah handed her the coffee. It was warm, sweet, perfect. "I can't believe they did that," Jonah said, shaking his head. "Daniel is obsessed with image. It's ridiculous." "It wasn't just him," Maya said quietly. Tiffany made it clear. Jonah snorted. Of course she did. She once complained that the office chairs were too democratic, whatever that means. Maya smiled, then looked down at her coffee. "I don't know what I'm going to do." Jonah was quiet for a moment. "Do you have somewhere to stay?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "Not really." Jonah leaned back and stared at the sky like he was thinking hard. "Okay, don't panic." "I'm not panicking," Maya said quickly. He raised an eyebrow. "Okay," she admitted, "I'm panicking a little." He smiled. "Fair." He pulled out his phone. "I have a couch. It's not fancy, and my roommate snores like a broken engine. But it's warm." Maya's eyes filled with tears before she could stop them. "Jonah, I can't." "You can," he said gently. "And you will? Just for a bit." She wiped her face with her sleeve, embarrassed. "Thank you." "Anytime," he said. Then, trying to lighten the mood, he added, "Also, my coffee machine is terrible, so I clearly need someone with taste to judge it." That made her laugh again. Later that afternoon, Maya stood in Jonah's apartment, staring at the small living room. It was messy but lived in. Books stacked everywhere. A plant that looked like it was barely holding on. "Make yourself at home," Jonah said. "Just don't judge the plant." "I already am," Maya said, smiling. She placed her bag down carefully. The taped handle finally gave up and snapped. Maya stared at it, then burst out laughing a wild sound that surprised even her. "Well," she said, holding up the broken strap, "guess that's official." Jonah laughed too. "Looks like your bag had a rough day." That night, Maya lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling. The room was quiet except for distant city sounds and, yes, loud snoring from the other room. Her phone buzzed again. An email notification. She frowned and opened it. From Larkin Co. HR subject, exit documentation. She closed the phone and turned it face down. For a moment, fear tried to take over. Fear of bills. Fear of tomorrow. Fear of being invisible. But under the fear, something else stirred. A small, stubborn feeling she did not expect. Anger. Not loud anger. Not screaming anger. But a quiet, focused fire. "They think I'm nothing," she whispered into the dark. She sat up, her heart beating faster. "They think I don't matter." Maya looked at her hands. These hands had built campaigns from nothing. These hands had stayed up late fixing mistakes that were not hers. These hands had earned praise before it was taken away. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Jonah, even though he was just in the next room. "Jonah, hey, just so you know, you're better than them." Maya smiled softly. Maybe she whispered. And for the first time since that quiet conference room, she allowed herself to think one dangerous, hopeful thought. What if this wasn't the end? What if this was the start of something they never saw coming? The next morning, Maya woke up before the alarm she had set out of habit. For a second, she reached for her phone, ready to check work emails. Then she remembered. The quiet felt heavier than any alarm ever had. She sat up slowly on the couch, rubbing her eyes. The apartment smelled like burnt toast. "Jonah," she called. "Kitchen," he answered. "I'm committing crimes against breakfast." She walked in to find him staring at a pan with a defeated look. The toast was black. "I told you," he said. "Terrible, Kitchen. No survivors." Maya laughed. "Step aside." She gently scraped the toast, flipped eggs with careful hands, and added a little salt. "Look at that," Jonah said, impressed. "She loses her job and immediately becomes a chef." "Survival skills," Maya said. "You learn them when you don't have a safety net." He grew quiet at that. After breakfast, Maya sat with her laptop at the small table. She opened her resume. Her name stared back at her, bold and hopeful. "What now?" she whispered. She applied to job after job: marketing assistant, campaign coordinator, junior strategist. Some asked for polished appearance. She skipped those. Others asked for unpaid trials. She skipped those too. Hours passed, noon, 1 o'clock. Her inbox stayed empty. Her phone rang. She didn't recognize the number. "Hello," she said. "Is this Maya Lin?" a woman asked. "Yes, this is Clara from Eastline Creative. We reviewed your application." Maya's heart jumped. "Yes." There was a pause. "Your experience is strong, but we're looking for someone who fits our culture." Maya closed her eyes. "I understand," she said quietly. The call ended. She stared at the wall for a long time. Jonah watched her from the doorway. "Rejection." "Polite rejection," Maya said. "The worst kind." He nodded. "Want to scream into a pillow?" Later, she said, "Right now, I want to do something stupid." "That's my favorite kind of plan," Jonah said. She turned to him. "What if I don't apply anymore?" Jonah blinked. "Okay, then what? What if I build something myself?" The word surprised her as much as him. "You mean freelance?" he asked. "Or something like that," she said, standing up. "I know how to create campaigns. I know how to tell stories. I know how to get attention without money." Jonah smiled slowly. "I like this version of you." Maya felt her pulse quicken. "I'm serious." "I know," he said. "And I think you're on to something." That afternoon, she set up a small website using a free template. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. She named it simply Maya Lin, Creative Strategy. She stared at the blank portfolio section. "I need proof." Jonah leaned against the counter. "What about the local cafe downstairs? They've been struggling." Maya's eyes lit up. Yes. They walked downstairs together. The cafe was small and quiet, with faded posters on the walls. A tired man stood behind the counter. "Can I help you?" he asked. Maya took a breath. "I'm a marketing strategist. I'd like to help you get more customers." "For free?" The man raised an eyebrow. "For free," yes, Maya said quickly. "Just as a test. If it works, you can decide later." He studied her for a moment, then shrugged. Why not? Business has been slow anyway. Maya worked non-stop for 3 days. She redesigned the cafe's online menu, created simple posts, and wrote a short story about the owner's journey that felt honest and warm. On the fourth day, the cafe was full. People lined up. Phones came out. Laughter filled the space. The owner looked at Maya like she had performed magic. "This is unbelievable," he said. "How much do I owe you?" Maya smiled. "Just a testimonial." That night she added the cafe project to her website. Then something unexpected happened. An email came in. Subject: "Loved your work at Pine Cafe." She opened it with shaking hands. "Hi Maya, I saw what you did for Pine Cafe. Are you available to help with a small campaign?" Then another email, and another. Within a week she had 3 small clients. She worked late nights fueled by cheap noodles and determination. Jonah brought her tea and sat nearby, pretending not to watch her with quiet admiration. One evening, as Maya typed furiously, Jonah said, "You know Lark & Co. is talking." Maya paused. "About what about you?" he said. "The cafe campaign went viral locally. Someone mentioned your name in the office today." Her heart skipped. "What did they say?" Jonah smiled. "They said, 'Isn't she the one who got fired?'" Maya leaned back in her chair, a slow smile spreading across her face. "Yes," she said softly. "That's me." But she didn't know yet that this was only the beginning, and that the people who pushed her out were about to watch her rise in a way none of them expected. 2 weeks later, Maya stood in line at a copy shop holding a stack of flyers she had designed herself. They were simple, clean, honest, the kind of design that spoke softly but stayed in your mind. The man in front of her turned around. "You a designer?" he asked. Maya nodded. "Something like that." He smiled. "These are nice. Clear. Not trying too hard." She felt a small spark of pride. "Thank you." Her phone buzzed while she waited. A new email. From Green Loop Organics, Maya stepped aside to read it. "Hi Maya, we're a growing brand and would love to discuss a full campaign." Her breath caught. A full campaign meant real money, not just coffee and thank you messages. She replied with shaking fingers, trying to sound calm and professional. When she left the shop, the wind was sharp, but she didn't mind. She pulled her coat tighter and walked faster, energy in her steps. That evening, Jonah came home to find Maya pacing the living room. "They want a meeting," she said, eyes wide. "Green Loop. Tomorrow." "That's huge," Jonah said. "You okay?" "No," she said honestly. "I don't have anything to wear." He blinked. "Anything, I mean?" "I have clothes," she said quickly. "Just not meeting clothes." Jonah thought for a moment. "Okay, don't panic." "Stop saying that," she said. "It makes me panic more." He grabbed his keys. "Come on, where are we going?" "Somewhere dangerous," he said. "A thrift store." She laughed despite herself. "Very dangerous." The thrift store smelled like dust and old fabric. Racks were packed tight. Maya ran her fingers over jackets and dresses, trying not to feel small. "Try this," Jonah said, holding up a navy blazer. She looked at the price tag. $5. "I can afford that," she whispered. In the fitting room, she put it on and looked in the mirror. It fit. Not perfectly, but close enough to feel strong. She stepped out. Jonah's eyes widened. "Wow." Maya straightened her shoulders. "Really? Yeah," he said. "That's a don't mess with me blazer." She smiled, her eyes shining. The next day, she walked into Green Loop's office wearing that blazer, her head high. The office was smaller than Lark & Co., but warmer, plants everywhere. Real smiles. Welcome, Maya, said the founder, a woman named Elise. We loved what you did for Pine Cafe. They talked for an hour. Maya spoke with confidence, explaining ideas clearly, listening carefully. She forgot to be nervous. At the end, Elise said, "We want to work with you." Maya held her breath. "What does that look like?" "A 3-month contract," Elise said. "Paid." Maya felt dizzy. "That sounds amazing." As she left the building, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello, Maya, this is Daniel Rourke." Her stomach dropped. "Yes," she said cautiously. "I heard you've been busy," Daniel said. His tone was smooth, too smooth. "We've seen some of your recent work." "I see," Maya replied. "We may have made a mistake," Daniel continued. "Perhaps we were too hasty. I'd like to discuss an opportunity." Maya stopped walking. Cars rushed past her, loud and careless. "What kind of opportunity?" she asked. "Coming back," Daniel said. "Freelance, of course. On our terms." Maya thought of the conference room, the folder, the way he looked at her coat. "I'll think about it," she said. "That's all I ask," Daniel replied. "Let's meet." She ended the call and stood still for a long moment. That night she told Jonah everything. He listened carefully. "Do you want to go?" "I don't know," she said. "Part of me wants to walk in there just to prove something. And the other part remembers how small they made me feel." Jonah nodded. "Whatever you choose, do it for you." She lay awake that night staring at the ceiling again. But this time fear wasn't in charge. A decision was coming, and it was going to change everything. Part 5. The next morning, sunlight slipped through the thin curtains and landed softly on the floor. Maya woke up slowly, not from fear, but from a strange warmth in her chest. For the first time in weeks, she did not dread the day. Jonah was already awake, sitting at the table with his laptop open. "Morning," he said. "I made coffee. It's acceptable." Maya smiled and poured herself a cup. "High praise." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Jonah looked up. "So," he said carefully. "Have you decided?" Maya nodded. "I'm meeting Daniel, but not to go back." Jonah leaned back. "I had a feeling." She met his eyes. "I need to face it. Properly." Later that day, Maya stood outside Larkin Cove again. The building looked the same. Tall, cold, confident. But she felt different. She wore the navy blazer. Her hair was neatly tied back. Her bag was new, simple, and strong. The receptionist looked up. "Name Maya Lin," she said calmly. The receptionist paused, then smiled politely. "Have a seat. Mr. Rourke will see you soon." As Maya sat, she noticed something strange. Her heart was not racing. Her hands were steady. Daniel greeted her in the same conference room. "Maya," he said, smiling like an old friend. "You look well." "So do you," she replied, sitting down. They talked about her recent projects. Daniel nodded, impressed. "You've done remarkable work," he said. "We'd like to collaborate." Maya folded her hands. "On what terms?" Daniel slid a paper toward her. "Short-term freelance. We control the brand direction. Competitive pay." Maya glanced at the paper, then pushed it back. "I'm not interested," she said gently. Daniel's smile stiffened. "May I ask why?" Maya looked around the room. "Because this place doesn't respect people. It respects appearances." Daniel sighed. "That's business." "No," Maya said softly. "That's a choice." He studied her. "You're making a mistake." Maya stood. "No, I already made one before. I won't make it again." She walked out with her head high. That evening, Jonah waited up for her. "Well," he asked. She grinned. "I said no." He smiled wide. "I'm proud of you." They celebrated with cheap takeout and laughter. At some point, the laughter softened. The room grew quiet. Jonah looked at her differently now, not just as a friend who helped, but as someone he admired. "Maya," he said quietly, "can I say something?" She nodded. "I liked you before," he said, awkward, but honest. "But watching you stand up for yourself, it's kind of amazing." Her heart skipped. Jonah? I don't want to rush anything, he added quickly. I just wanted you to know. Maya smiled, her cheeks warm. I'm glad you did. He reached out, hesitated, then gently took her hand. She didn't pull away. The moment felt simple, real, safe. That night as she lay on the couch, she smiled into the dark. For the first time in a long time, her future didn't feel lonely. And somewhere deep inside, she knew something else too. The people who had looked down on her were not done watching her yet. The twist came on a Tuesday morning, quiet and ordinary, the kind of morning that did not warn you before changing your life. Maya was sitting at the kitchen table, her laptop open, hair messy, wearing Jonah's oversized hoodie. She was halfway through a campaign draft for Greenloop when her phone rang. Unknown number, she almost ignored it. Then she answered. Hello, is this Maya Lin? A man asked. His voice was calm, professional. Yes. My name is Robert Hale. I'm calling from Northbridge Group. Maya frowned. I'm not sure I know. We're an investment firm, Robert continued. One of our partners noticed your recent work, especially the Pine Cafe campaign in Greenloop. Maya sat up straight. Okay. We're launching a new initiative, he said, supporting independent creatives. We'd like to talk. Her heart began to race. Talk how about funding, Robert said, and growth. She was silent for a second. You mean money? He chuckled lightly. Yes, real money. After the call ended, Maya sat frozen, staring at the wall. Jonah walked in, rubbing his eyes. Why do you look like you just saw a ghost? She turned slowly. Jonah, I think someone wants to invest in me. He blinked. Like, invest. She nodded. Like office team contracts. Everything. Jonah let out a low whistle. Wow. They met Robert 2 days later at a small, quiet restaurant. He was older, kind-eyed, dressed simply. No flash. No ego. I'll be honest, Robert said over tea. We don't usually notice small campaigns. Maya nodded. Then why me? Because of why you were fired, he said. Her stomach tightened. Excuse me. Robert leaned back. One of our junior partners used to work at Lark & Co. Maya froze. He left, Robert continued, because he didn't agree with how they treated people. He told us your story. Maya's voice was barely a whisper. They told you I was fired for performance. Robert shook his head. No. He told us the truth. Maya felt heat rush to her face. Shame, anger, then something else. Validation. We believe companies that judge talent by appearance will fall behind, Robert said. We want to back people who prove that. Maya swallowed hard. What are you offering? A partnership, he said. You lead. We support. She didn't answer right away. That night she walked alone through the city thinking. Lights blurred past her. Her phone buzzed again and again with new client messages. Her life was already changing. As she turned a corner, she nearly bumped into someone. Oh, sorry, she said automatically. She looked up. Tiffany. Tiffany froze. Her perfect smile slipped. Maya, she said, surprised. Wow, I heard things. I'm sure you did, Maya replied calmly. Tiffany glanced at Maya's clothes. Simple, clean, confident. So Tiffany said, folding her arms, freelancing. Building something, Maya said. Tiffany laughed lightly. Good for you. Not everyone is meant for big firms. Maya smiled. You're right. Tiffany tilted her head. You know, Lark & Co. is struggling. Maya raised an eyebrow. Clients leaving. Tiffany continued. Reputation issues. People talk. Maya nodded slowly. People notice. Tiffany's smile faded. 2 weeks later, the news broke quietly at first. Northbridge announced a new creative studio. Founder Maya Lin. The article spread fast. Social media picked it up. Industry blogs followed. And then the calls started. Clients leaving Lark & Co., clients asking for Maya. Daniel called, again. And again, she didn't answer. The real twist came 1 month later when Maya received an invitation. Lark & Co. Annual Industry Panel. Topic, The Future of Creative Leadership. Guest speaker, Maya Lin. She stared at the email stunned. Jonah read it over her shoulder. Oh, that's awkward. Maya smiled slowly. No, she said. That's perfect. Because this time she wouldn't be sitting at the end of the table. She would be standing at the front. The conference hall was large, bright, and full of quiet excitement. People stood in small groups holding coffee, checking name tags, laughing politely. Maya stood behind the stage curtain holding a bottle of water with both hands. Her name was printed on a tall banner near the stage. Maya Lin, founder and creative director. She took a slow breath. You ready? Jonah asked softly. He stood beside her dressed in a simple suit, looking more nervous than she felt. I think so, she said. If I trip, just pretend it's part of the speech. He smiled. Deal. A staff member peeked in. You're on in 2 minutes. Maya nodded. Her heart beat faster now, but it felt clean. Not fear, energy. She stepped onto the stage to warm applause. The lights were bright, but she could see familiar faces in the crowd. Then she saw them. Daniel sat in the front row, stiff and serious. Tiffany sat 2 seats away, her posture perfect, her smile careful. Maya walked to the podium. Good afternoon, she began. Her voice echoed slightly, then settled. I'm Maya Lin. The room quieted. I want to start with a story, she said. Not a success story. Not at first. A few people smiled. Less than a year ago, Maya continued, I was fired from a firm in this industry, not because of my work, but because of how I looked, because I didn't fit an image. A ripple moved through the audience. Murmurs, shifts in seats. Maya kept her eyes forward. At the time, I thought that moment defined me, she said. But it didn't. It revealed something. She spoke simply, clearly about talent, about access, about how many people never get a chance because they don't look the part. Daniel stared straight ahead. Tiffany's smile was gone. I built my company because I wanted to prove one thing Maya said. Great ideas don't come from polish. They come from people. Applause rose strong and honest. During the panel discussion, awkward moments came fast. A moderator asked, do you think traditional firms are becoming outdated? Maya paused. Some are. Not because they're old, but because they're afraid to change. Daniel shifted in his seat. Another panelist asked, what advice would you give to young creatives? Maya smiled. Don't wait for permission. At the networking break, the room buzzed. People surrounded Maya. Compliments, questions, business cards. Then Daniel approached. Maya, he said stiffly, that was, impactful. Thank you, she replied calmly. He hesitated. You put us in a difficult position. She met his eyes. You put yourselves there. Nearby, Tiffany stood watching, arms crossed. Congratulations, Tiffany said coolly when Maya turned to her. You've done well. Maya nodded. So have you. You stayed. Tiffany's jaw tightened. Later, as the crowd thinned, a woman approached Maya with bright eyes. I'm Elise, she said, from Green Loop. I just wanted to say seeing you up there meant something. Maya smiled warmly. It meant something to me, too. As Maya left the hall, Jonah walked beside her, quiet. You okay? She asked. He laughed softly. I just watched the person who slept on my couch change an entire room. She bumped his shoulder gently. Couldn't have done it without you. He stopped walking. Maya, there's something I should tell you. She turned. I've been offered a job, he said. It's your company. She blinked. You're joking. I'm not, he said. And I want it, but only if you want me there. Maya smiled, eyes shining. I want you there. He grinned. Behind them, the conference hall lights dimmed. The chapter closed. But one more moment waited, and it would be the most satisfying of all. A week later, Maya stood in her new office, sunlight pouring through tall windows. The space was not huge, but it was warm. Plants lined the shelves. Whiteboards were filled with ideas written in different colors. It smelled like fresh paint and coffee. Her name was printed on the glass door. Lin Studio. She stood there for a moment, just looking, letting it feel real. "You're going to make me cry if you keep staring like that," Jonah said behind her. She turned and smiled. "I already cried earlier. I'm done for the day." He laughed and set 2 cups of coffee on the desk. "First official day. How does it feel?" "Like I'm finally breathing," she said. The door opened. Elise walked in smiling. Then the cafe owner. Then a young designer Maya had recently hired, eyes bright with excitement. The room filled with voices, life, possibility. Later that afternoon, Maya's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She looked at it, then shook her head and put the phone face down. Jonah raised an eyebrow. "Not curious, I know who it is," she said softly. He nodded. "Fair." As the day ended, Maya walked alone for a moment through the office. She stopped by the window and looked down at the city. People rushed below just like before, but now she knew something they didn't. She hadn't been fired because she was poor. She had been freed because she was strong. That evening, she and Jonah sat on the floor of the office eating pizza from a box. So Jonah said, "What's next for Lin's studio?" Maya smiled. "We build things that matter." He looked at her serious now. "And us," she met his gaze. "We already are." He leaned in, and she didn't pull away. Outside, the city lights came on, one by one. Somewhere far away, Lark & Co. dimmed their lights early that night. And Maya Lin, once dismissed and overlooked, sat exactly where she belonged. Not at the end of the table, but at the head. And this time, everyone noticed.